In this episode of The Coin Traveler, we're stepping into 1957, a year of big headlines and even bigger change, through one of America's most iconic silver coins, the 1957 Benjamin Franklin half-dollar. This isn't just a piece of pocket change from the past. It's 90% silver, struck in the heart of the post-war boom, when confidence was high, the Cold War was heating up, and the modern world was accelerating fast. And in your hand, this coin still carries that era's weight, literally and historically. Today we'll break down what makes the 1957 Franklin half special, the design and symbolism, the key mint marks, the details collectors look for like strike quality and those famous full bell lines, and what separates a common example from one that's truly worth hunting. So if you've got one in a flip, one in a roll, or you're building a Franklin set, settle in. This is the Coin Traveler, and this is the 1957 Franklin half-dollar. In 1957, the U.S. president was Dwight D. Eisenhower, beginning his second term. He led the country through Cold War pressure, backed the Eisenhower Doctrine in the Middle East, signed the Civil Rights Act of 1957, and sent federal troops to enforce school desegregation in Little Rock, Arkansas. In the U.S., it felt like late boom turning to sudden slowdown. Prosperity early in the year. America was still riding the post-war expansion, with strong consumer demand and industry humming, classic 1950s confidence. Then the mood changed fast. The business cycle peaked in July 1957, and the economy slid into the 1957-58 recession. Two cars captured two very different dreams of the American road, the Chevrolet Bel Air and the Ford Thunderbird. The '57 Chevy Bel Air became a symbol of the 1950s itself. It wasn't just transportation, it was style, optimism, and post-war confidence on four wheels. Chrome, bold lines, and that unmistakable look made it the kind of car people remembered for life. It represented the everyday American dream, a family car that still felt exciting, powerful, and proud to own. Even today, when people say classic 50s car, a '57 Chevy is usually the first picture in their mind. Then you've got the 1957 Ford Thunderbird, a different kind of statement. This wasn't built to be a family sedan. It was built to feel personal, like freedom, success, and individuality. The Thunderbird helped define the personal luxury idea, a sleek, stylish car designed for comfort, image, and the experience of driving. It was modern, upscale, and aimed at people who wanted something that felt a little more exclusive. The Milwaukee Braves didn't just have a good season. They had a statement season. They finished 95-59, won the National League pennant, and then took down the defending champion New York Yankees in a classic 7-game World Series, winning it 4-3. The heartbeat of that team was Hank Aaron. In just his fourth big league season, Aaron won the National League MVP by doing everything. He hit .322, crushed 44 home runs, drove in 132 runs batted in, and scored 118 runs, leading the league in the categories that change games. And when October came, Milwaukee matched star power with execution. Pitcher Lou Burdett delivered one of the most legendary World Series performances ever. 3 complete game wins, including 2 shutouts, earning him World Series MVP. Elvis Presley was already being crowned the King of Rock and Roll, and he owned the airwaves. His biggest hit that year was All Shook Up, the #1 song of 1957 in the U.S. The 1957 Franklin half-dollar is a United States 50-cent coin made of 90% silver and 10% copper. It weighs 12.50 grams, measures 30.6 millimeters in diameter, and is about 1.8 millimeters thick with a reeded edge. Its actual silver weight is 0.36169 troy ounces of pure silver. The obverse features Benjamin Franklin, and the reverse shows the Liberty Bell with a small eagle, designed by John R. Sinek. For 1957, Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, while Denver coins show a D mint mark on the reverse above the bell's yoke. Philadelphia produced about 5.114 million, about 19.967 million from Denver, and about 1.248 million proof coins struck in Philadelphia. A Franklin half-dollar had a face value of 50 cents, and that 50 cents went a lot further than it does today. It was real spending power. For starters, Coca-Cola was famously a nickel in that era, so a single 1957 Franklin half could buy you 10 Cokes. And gas was cheap by today's standards. The U.S. average was about 30 cents a gallon in 1957, so your half-dollar could buy more than a gallon of gas and still leave you change. At the grocery store, a loaf of bread was around 19 cents, which means 50 cents could cover 2 loaves of bread with a little left over for something small. For kids, that leftover change could turn into candy, a soda, or a small treat. And if you needed to make a call, payphones were still commonly a nickel into the 1950s, meaning that same half-dollar could buy multiple phone calls. So, yeah. In 1957, a Franklin half-dollar could literally buy you a good afternoon, a drink, some food, maybe a call home, and still a little change jingling in your pocket. And that brings us to the end of today's stop on the Coin Traveler, the 1957 Franklin half-dollar, a simple 50-cent coin on paper, but in reality, a heavy little time capsule, 90% silver, a snapshot of America in the late 1950s, and a reminder that real value isn't always printed on the front. In 1957, it could buy you a slice of everyday life, gas, groceries, a soda, a treat. Today, that same coin carries the weight of history and the weight of silver. So if you've got one in your hand, don't just look at it, read it. Check the mint mark. Study Franklin's details, flip it over, and hunt for those full bell lines. Because sometimes the difference between cool coin and collector coin is hiding in one tiny line of metal. If you enjoyed this episode, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment. This has been Coin Traveler. Next time we'll visit another coin, another moment, and another forgotten story hidden in plain sight. Until then, pay attention to what you hold in your hand, because sometimes the smallest objects carry the longest journeys.